Hello everybody, in this video I'll teach you string indexing and slicing in Python. Indexing where we grab a character and slicing where we grab a section of a string. Okay, so let's jump to Jupyter Notebook and get started. Okay, I will start off by creating a variable and call it myFace. Please remember, do not use Python internal keyword for creating variables such as string, integer, list or float. And set the variable value as execute it, and let's be sure that the variable is ready to go. Let's start off by typing the name of the variable and put square brackets at the end. Okay, now let's imagine that I want to grab the first character of that variable. I can just go ahead and use the index position of it, which is 0, and then type it in the square brackets. I did that because the indexing of characters in Python starts at 0. Execute it. As you can see, the first character of the variable called myFace is h. Now let's try to grab e. Now since e is at the index position of 1 of that variable, I can just type 1 in the square brackets after the name of the variable. Okay, now we have seen enough examples of indexing. Now let me show you how you can do reverse indexing. Let's imagine I want to grab the second last character of that variable myFace. I can just go ahead and start counting from the last. So 1, 2. So the index position of y is 2. Please note that the index position of characters in reverse indexing starts with 1. Now let's start by typing the name of that variable, square brackets, then put a minus sign, then the index position of that character, which is 2. Since we are doing reverse indexing, it is no doubt that we are going to use the minus sign. Execute it. As you can see that the index position of y was negative -2 in reverse indexing. Okay, now let's see another example. Imagine I want to grab the fourth last character. Now I can start counting from the last till I reach the character that I want to grab, which is b. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now let's see. As you can see that we have successfully grabbed the fourth last character of myFace variable using reverse indexing. I think that's enough for now. Okay, now let's look at slicing. Let's start off by creating a variable and call it mySlice and set it to letter. Okay, now let's call the variable to see if it has been successfully initiated. As you can see that the variable has been initiated. Okay, now let's imagine that I want to grab the character e. I can just go ahead and use indexing on it. First call the variable and then use square brackets. Then give the index position of the character e, which is 1. Execute it. Okay, now let's imagine that I want to grab all the characters after the letter e. I can just go ahead and use a colon after the index position that I have provided for the slicing. Execute it. As you can see that I have sliced all the characters after the letter e. Now let's see what is happening here. If you remember in my first part of strings, where I give you an introduction to strings, you can perform slicing using start, stop and step. And here, as you can see, I provided the index position of where to start the slicing, but didn't provide how many steps or when to stop. So Python assumed that I'm asking to grab a slice of all the words after the letter e. Now let's imagine that I want to grab everything up to a particular index. Then I can just say that I want to grab let from the variable mySlice. I can just go ahead and provide the starting index position of L from the variable mySlice and then tell where to stop by providing the index position of T. First I'm going to call my variable, then provide the index position of L, which is 0, then provide the index position of T. As you can see that I have my results, but you will also notice something that I'm just getting back LE, not LET. Now let's see what is happening here. When I provided the index position of where I want to stop, I'm basically saying that go up to that index but don't include it. So if I really want my results as LET, I can just go ahead and give the index position of the second t, which is 3. Execute it. As you can see that I have my results, which is perfect. Okay, now let's imagine that I want to grab everything from the beginning of the string to the very end. Well, technically you can just call a string itself, but I could also use the colon notation for this. Now you don't really see this often, but sometimes someone can use this to provide the third parameter, which is step. Okay, now as you can see my result. Now let me explain what is happening here. As I provided the 2 step size, which basically means how many steps you want to take. Now the default step size is just 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. But now here I'm defining that the first jump to the letter L, then jump to T, then jump to E. Okay, that's enough for today. I'll see you in the next video. Also, if you have any question regarding to what I taught in this video, you can always go to the comment section and ask your questions. I'll try to answer it as soon as possible.